Councillor Bepple, right?
Right.
Councillor Bepple, thank you so much for not sitting down with me. Councillor Bepple, thank you so much for doing this with me. You are here at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention here in Ottawa, Ontario. What brings you from Kamloops, British Columbia, to the conference this year?
Well, this is a highlight of my year. It's a chance to meet colleagues from across the country, talk about common issues, find common solutions. And I think it's a double bonus that it's in Ottawa this year, because the policies that we're really trying to put forward are ones that are driven by the federal government. So being in the same town as the MPs that are deciding those policies is a huge bonus.
So what are the common themes that you're hearing at this convention that you're hearing back in Kamloops? Or that you're dealing with in Kamloops, I should say?
So one of the biggest ones is housing. So Kamloops, like all across the country, has a housing crisis, and Kamloops is the third fastest growing municipality in Canada, so we know what it means to need to build housing. It's not enough for the federal government to say you need to build more housing. We work with builders, we need infrastructure, we have limited taxation, we need partners like the federal government to come on board to support infrastructure. You can't build houses without water, sewer, roads, and other infrastructure.
One of the big events that happened this week was the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, came and spoke to the delegates on day, if I'm doing my math here, day one, if I'm correct here. In his speech and even in his questions with President Bly, he talked a lot about housing. Are you optimistic that this government will address the housing challenges in places like Kamloops, in British Columbia, across Canada? Well,
I'm optimistic that he and his government understand that it's an important issue. I know that it will be challenging. Has been in the past to deliver something that meets the requirements of large cities. Kamloops, I would say, is a mid-sized city, 100,000, and rural areas. I think that that's a real challenge. The Housing Accelerator Fund is a good example, which was the last government's policy, but Carney said that he's going to reenact it in some way. City of Kamloops, third fastest growing municipality in the country, applied for it 2 times and were turned down. So policies that are driven on grant applications that are oversubscribed serve some municipalities, some local governments, but everybody else is left in the dust. So
there's a concern that I'm hearing from delegates, and even when I was in British Columbia just last month, that the last government was about the Golden Triangle, the Vancouver, the Montreal, and Toronto. Outside of that, you get the scraps, quote unquote. You're in Ottawa, you're talking to your fellow councillors. Are you hearing the same concerns that you're hearing from yourself about, we have applied for the building fund twice, we got rejected? Are other communities your size across Canada getting that same response, or are you hearing different things?
Well, I think that what I'm hearing is just the frustration of the issues that they're dealing with, and they may be slightly different. I was talking to Mayor of Waterloo, and what they wanted was more transit and better train service from Waterloo to Toronto. That's not what we're looking for in Kamloops, although I love more transit. But it's just the whole way that the system works, that you apply for a grant, you find out 6 months later that you don't get it. Meanwhile, the work still needs to get done. And are we going to just keep taxing the property owners for new development? And now we know that they don't want us to increase the DCCs. So it's how are we going to get these things done? You can't just build housing. You need to build infrastructure to go with the housing. And you also have to look at all the aging infrastructure out there as well, because some of the housing is going to be an infill, right? So how do you upgrade the existing infrastructure?
So my final question here, and it's a political one, so I apologize if it comes out of left field, but what does Kamloops get from FCM that they couldn't get from themselves? Why is it important for Kamloops to be part of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities?
Well, having a united voice going to Ottawa and having specific goals that we want to achieve is so powerful. And if there were 2,000 municipalities coming to Ottawa with different messages, it would be really difficult for the federal government to build a coherent policy. And one of the strengths, if not the biggest strength of FCM, is they are able to get these 2,000 municipalities from 200 people to 5 million people to agree on common goals and work together in going forward. And that's just amazing that that's what happens. But having a united message to take to the federal government, regardless of who is in power, and we talk to all the political parties. So the same message goes to the Conservatives, to the Liberals, to the Greens, to the Bloc Québécois. Everybody hears that message of what we need to help work with them. I think that's what we get
What do you
out of
take
it.
home now? Because you're heading home here in about 2 days as of recording this. What do you take home to Kamloops to make sure what you learned here, what you gathered here, what you spoke to here doesn't just fall on deaf ears and doesn't go anywhere from Ottawa?
Well, I mean, I've been coming to FCM on and off since 2008. I take home renewed and new friendships with all sorts of local government officials. That's so powerful when you can call someone up and say, I have this problem, what are you doing about it? So ideas of how others are working on the same problem. So that's number one. Number two, the trade show, getting a few ideas to take back to staff and see if they help them. It's up to staff to see if they can implement those ideas. And third, I mean, we have all sorts of panels of experts. So I went to the policing panel yesterday. I take away what they've said, and it sort of informs me when I'm looking at what we're doing locally in terms of our police budget, is to hear what others are doing on the same issue.
Perfect. Councillor Bepple, thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Chris. Thanks so much.